Welcome to the session on understanding emotion through storytelling and theater activities. So this session is relevant to both kids and their parents. So, it is advisable that you have your kids with you, and if you could switch on your cameras, we could get the best out of this session. Okay. And today we have Ms. Bhumika Halemane with us to take us through this session. Okay. She is a psychologist, a social worker, an applied theater trainer, and a drama therapist with over more than 10 years of experience. And she was involved in various projects with the governments of Rajasthan as well as Karnataka to design mental wellness programs, for kids and working staff. So welcome to Bhumika, and looking forward to all the learning, Bhumika.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Suresh. And hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I request everyone to please turn on your cameras because we will be doing a lot of activities today. Thank you for such a lovely introduction. So today's session is all about understanding emotions through theater and storytelling. I think this is one of my favorite topics because it's so interesting to see how we can learn so much about emotions using these two prominent things, which is theater and story. So we will be doing a lot of activities. Okay, so my first question to you all is, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, what is your energy level today? Yes, 10 by 10. Okay, she says 10 by 10. What about you, Suresh?
I'm at 8.
8. Okay. So what about others? Pradita, Ashwini?
I'm at 7.
You're at 7. Okay, what about Ashwini? So somebody said who has 10 on 10. What is your name, ma'am?
This is Lakshmi here.
Okay, hi Lakshmi. Okay. So why do you say you have 10 on 10? What makes you feel that? Have you had good sleep at night? Have you eaten properly? Why did you say that you have full energy today? Let us all listen to it.
I have good sleep at night, and also I feel very happy when I'm ready to. Wear a sari.
Oh, you're wearing sari. Okay, so you feel really happy when you do that, right? Something that makes you feel good about yourself. So yes, that is the reason why you're feeling 10. What about Pranita? You said you're feeling 7. Why? What happened to 3 more energy levels?
Because my daughter is beside me.
Okay. So what about you? What's your name?
Pratiksha.
Pratiksha, hi. How is your energy today? Did you have food? Did you have lunch?
Yes.
Okay, lovely. What about others? You can type in the chat box. I would really like to know. So I want to start the session with a small icebreaker. I want everyone to participate. It's simple. We use our fingers, we use our hands, and then we use our tables wherever you are. Okay. So I will start by using rhythm and my name. Okay. So simple. So I will start with, say, my name is Bhumika. Okay. So it's simple. And I will pass it on to Lakshmi. Okay. Then Lakshmi, you start.
My name is Lakshmi.
Pass to somebody else.
I'm passing to Suresh.
Yes.
My name is Suresh. Passing on to Pratham Panch.
So why we use rhythm is because it really vibrates, it gives us that energy passing in our body when we use rhythms and things like that. That is the reason why we try to incorporate rhythm in our lives, right? So it will really help you understand emotions better. Okay, so this is a very simple activity. Pranita, you can start.
My name is Pranita.
Very nice. So she used faster, whereas Lakshmi used slowly. Suresh used a normal pace. So we also understand we have different paces, right? So if we have good energy, maybe I will say, my name is Bhumika. I'll shout. But if I have low energy, I'll be like, my name is Bhumika, right? It shows in our body. Yes or no? Right? So I want to start off by saying that emotions are complicated, but at the same time, it's how we make of it. Right? How we make of our emotions, it projects. So there is our body and there is our mind. right? Together, if we put it and say this is the health of a person, that says it's not only about physical body, right? I might not have any diseases. I might not be weak. That doesn't say I'm healthy. I might have a lot of emotional problems, right? So when we define health, it is both combination of emotions, my social well-being, and then my physical well-being. So you put together and we have emotions, right? Now I want to introduce to you why we choose theater to talk about all of these things. So I want to ask everyone, back in your school days, right? Go back to your school days, try to imagine what did they give more prominence to when it comes to education. They maybe taught you a lot of science and mathematics, right? They gave a lot of importance to that, right? Maybe language classes. What about other classes? What about other things? Are we only made of these two subjects? No, right? So we are made of different intelligences. Intelligence is not only limited to science, maths, and English language, right? You have more than just that. So I want to introduce to you all a concept called multiple intelligence, right? And that is the reason why everyone today will understand why we use theater. So multiple intelligence is a concept that is designed by a psychologist called Howard Gardner, right? He developed this because everybody were constantly talking about only mathematical and scientific intelligence, but we have a lot more than just that. He says that our brain is made up of two parts. One is the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere, right? Left hemisphere is the reason why we use logic, reasoning, and all of that. And right hemisphere is responsible for our creative thinking, imagination, feelings, and all of that. Both right and left is present in every human being. Okay. So these are some of the different intelligences he has come up with. We have logical, which means reasoning, scientific, mathematical application, all of these things where we use reasons to explain things. We have visual. What is visual? I can visualize things, any concept very easily, right? So maybe you have designers, you have graphic artists, you have people who can imagine, writers, poets, who can imagine things very well. Then we have musical, people who understand music. Then we have kinesthetic, which is body movement, people who are very good at body. They can move, they can balance very well. Then we have interpersonal, where we get to know each other very well, in the sense they empathize better, they can understand other people's emotions. Then we have naturalistic, which means that they are very beautifully, they can understand nature, they like to work in nature, right? And we have linguistic, which is language control. So all of these things are put together in every human being. But ask yourself, do you learn all of these things in schools? Do we learn all of these things? No, right? Maybe a few things we might learn in school, but what about other intelligences? Theater is the only platform which uses all of these things together. We use music, we use rhythm, we use interpersonal, right? We use spatial understanding, we use logical reasons, right? Everything put together in theater. So theater is not just for you to go and watch it and spend some time and get back, but for you to apply and see what it does to you. So when I say I'm going to do a session on theater, I'm not going to make you act, but I'm going to introduce you to the concepts of theater, experience first and single-handedly to understand emotions better. And that is the reason why we use theater. Now I can see a lot of parents here, right? I want to ask you all one thing. What has changed for students today, for children today? That is not, it's becoming very difficult for us to understand. It's not the same anymore, right? It's changed. A lot of things have changed. So what are the different challenges children are facing today? Yes, Suresh.
I think there are a lot of distractions available
Yes.
in the form of visual media,
Yes.
the mobile phones, the television, etc.
Yes.
Tablets.
Yeah, definitely. So there are a lot of distractions, because we may also agree to the fact that children these days are too much exposed to media, technology, right? Their body movements are not in motion. They're constantly sitting in one place and they're interacting with technology. They have a lot of exposure to things. And this is a very big challenge for us, right?
And
What
main thing is online games.
Yes,
They're
online
not playing
games.
outdoor games.
Yes, they're not playing outdoor games. There is no physical movement, right? There is no interaction with people. All of the interaction is happening online, as you said, right? Then what about other things? What about, their future? Because of the lockdowns and series of things that are blocking them, there is no clear-cut indication as to what will happen in future. So there's so much anxiety in children also, right? We cannot completely ignore that, children are facing a lot of emotional problems these days. So these are some of the distractions and challenges that children are facing. And you can add to it, right? There is change of routine. There is break in continuity of learning, right? Before this, they had a system where they would pack their bags and go to schools, right? They had a lot of activities to do, right? But now it's not the same. There is break in continuity of healthcare, right? They don't know what is happening to their health, honestly, right? There is missed significant life events. How many of us think about this? For children, these life events is not only a gathering, but it's a big learning. It could be Diwali festival, birthday celebrations, going out to exhibition with family, participating in events like this. How many events have they missed since 2 years? There was a tradition, there was a system, right? Like every festival, what they do, they get up in the morning, they take this, they have a ritual, right? You have to wear something nice, you have to go outside, you have to do that, you have to do this. But now there is absolutely nothing like that. So there have been a lot of distractions in their lives and change in routine, and they're adjusting to new norms. They're adjusting to learning online, social isolation. In fact, they don't even get to speak to their own age groups. Yes or no? Their interactions are happening with adults. How much can they talk to adults and how much can they relate with adults? They don't talk to their own age group people these days, right? There is no physical movement. Then there is improper channeling of emotions and energy. So, do we all agree that children have truckload of energy? It's not like us, right? They have so much energy. Yes.
Yes, absolutely yes.
And are they channelizing it properly?
Depends on the situation, depends on
Yes.
parenting, etc.
Yes. Depends on the family, depends on the parents, depends on where they are. But because of lockdown, because they cannot go outside, because of this constant fear, right? There's a lot of improper channeling of energy. As somebody rightly said, they're spending a lot of time in front of screens. They're playing a lot of video games. They're not interacting with children of their own age. So because of this, we want to really, start implementing all of these activities within homes, right? That is the reason why we want to take you through series of activities today that you can implement with your children. Yes, Aarti, you said not really. Can you explain that, please? I would like to know. They're stuck at home and unable to channelize their energy. Yes, exactly. So, how can we as parents, right, as adults, understand this and make it a priority? They get cranky very fast. Yes, they do. Definitely. Right. So, one thing is they might not be able to display or express their emotions like us. Yes, shout and cry. Exactly. So, for us, I can say I'm anxious. I can say I'm stressed. We use these terms, right? Right, somebody asks me how are you feeling, what, I'm really stressed today, yeah, I'm very anxious, I don't know what to do. But children don't use these terms because they don't know what it is. So instead they show in their behaviors, like as you said, they cry a lot, they shout, right? They isolate themselves. Some kids are seen just sitting by themselves, not talking at all, right? And new fears might come. Before they might not be scared at, towards darkness, but now they're all of a sudden scared. They have nightmares. So these things we have to observe in our children so that we can go there, step up and really help them come out of it. Another thing that they're also noticing is adults' behaviors, right? So before, phone calls used to be happy. Nowadays, what happens in the phone calls? Either somebody's shouting, somebody's scared, somebody's crying. So they notice all of these things, right? Now they also notice that parents' timings have changed. The way parents interact with each other has changed. Maybe there's a lot of frustration at home. Maybe there's a lot of sadness in the house. They can sense all of these things. So as parents, we have to model behaviors. So when I say model, what does that mean? Can anyone tell me? What can the parents do to model these behaviors? Yes. Because kids know they like to observe and imitate. They will imitate whatever we do. They see whatever we do. And they don't understand language, but they will understand actions very well. If I say, don't feel stressed, don't feel anxious, they will not understand. If I start laughing, then they will understand. If I set up a routine, I wake up in the morning, I go outside and do something, they will do it. Right? If I be very happy in the house, I don't let my sadness come in front of my face, then they will understand it. So, how can we model these behaviors in front of our children? That is the first thing. The second is, how can we include creativity and imagination with our children so that they feel happy and they're able to express themselves better, right? That is the first thing. Now, when we talk about stories, stories are something which children really relate and associate with. Now, we also have to talk about imagery and visualization in stories. We have to include senses. So, whenever we talk about stories, we talk about senses. Okay. Now, I want everyone to do this. I want you all to look at me on screen. Use your eyes as your first sense and copy whatever I do. Okay. So please copy whatever I do in front of the screen. Very simple. Hi, my name is Pritika.
My name is Suresh.
What is your name? So you start doing small activities like this with children. Okay. And you can go and say, I am a monkey. Right? And then you can make them do anything. So this is a mirroring activity. Okay, so you start with your hands, then you start showing expressions. I'm feeling happy, and then I'm feeling sad. So what happens? Then you can start asking them questions. So this is a very small way of getting for getting children interested in emotions. Okay, what is emotions? So that is the first thing. So mirroring and modeling will definitely help understand what we are feeling. So you start doing these things, and after a few of them, you can ask them questions. So how did you feel doing this activity? So do you understand what sadness means? So what do you do when you feel sad? Then they will start asking you questions or giving you answers. And using stories will really help doing this. Maybe they have certain characters that they love the most. Can you guys tell me what are the different characters your children like? It could be cartoon characters, it could be animation characters.
Elsa from Frozen is something that
Yes,
might.
Elsa from Frozen, right? Or there could be other characters. Now use this character to teach them certain things. Chota Bheem, yes. So for example, if they're not doing something, then you can use these characters to tell them, Elsa wouldn't have done this. Why do you like Elsa? Elsa is very confident. She can take care of her problems. She does everything. Does she say no to something? No, she says yes to it. She'll face it. So like that, you can use characters to teach them about, if they're going through something which is sad, or if they're making some mistake, use these characters to boost their self-esteem. Try to connect with them towards these characters. Why do they like these characters? Ask them questions. Why do you like Elsa? What are the different things Elsa has done in that movie that you like, that you relate with? Right? So questions like this will help them identify, yes, I also have these qualities and characteristics, so it will help me. So now we also want to instigate their mind through storytelling. So I want to use this, activity called complete the story. It's very simple. We take up a situation. For example, the situation is outside this window, there is a big tree, and on the tree, there is an orange balloon. This is the situation. Now, we have to talk to our children and ask them, how did that balloon come there? But using a story. Okay, I will start and we will add on. Okay, I will start. and all of you will add on. Every time I give a pause, somebody else will pick up the story and continue. But our aim should be to identify how that balloon came on the tree. Okay, I'll start. Once upon a time, there was a girl called Vidya. Okay, and she used to stay in a house with her parents. And she wanted to go to a museum, but her parents said there is no museum in this town. Instead, we will go to an exhibition. And they went to an exhibition. There she saw, next goes to Lakshmi.
Then she saw one balloon there, and that is she buy that one, and she kept in her bag.
Okay.
Then I'm passing to Suresh.
She took the bag. Okay, she took the bag and she was passing by and she saw a very poor kid. Okay, who's starving and he was very hungry. So the girl asked her mother and passing it on to Aarti.
Okay. So now Aarti says Vidya asked her mother for help to help the poor boy. Okay. Now, do you want to speak, Tanishka? What happens to the story next?
Then the poor boy asks for the balloon and the girl gives the balloon to the boy.
Mm-hmm.
The boy then later runs to his mother showing the balloon.
Okay. You want to
I'd like to pass it to someone.
Okay. Who do you want to pass it to?
To Ashwini P.
Yes, Ashwini P. So see, ultimately the goal has to be the balloon has to reach the tree. So think about it. Okay, so Ashwini P, are you here? Can you hear me? Okay, I don't know if she's there. Anybody who wants to take it up, either Pranita or Pooja or Debasmita?
Yes.
Yes.
So the boy was so happy with the balloon that he was running fast with it. And soon he saw a tree, a mango tree, which is full of mangoes. And he asked his mother, "Can I have a couple of mangoes from there?"
Okay, and who do you want to pass it on to?
Pranita?
Okay, my daughter wants to say something.
Yes, tell me.
Then he asked her mommy to get some mangoes. Then she said no.
Then she said no. Okay, so what did he do next? Anyone? We can go back to Tanishka. Tanishka, are you here?
Oh yes, I'm here.
Yes, tell me what happens next. It doesn't have to make sense. You can be anything. You can introduce any character. You can introduce magical elements. He started climbing himself with the balloon in his hand. Yes. Now what happens next?
Then he climbed and suddenly there came a gush of wind and the balloon flew away and stuck onto a top branch and he was unable to reach it.
He's unable to reach it. Yes. Now there is this. What happens to the boy? Now the balloon is up there. He is stuck. There is a wind that is gushing in. What happens to the boy?
The boy will stay quiet, but he wants the balloon back.
He wants the balloon back, but it's gone very high. He cannot reach it. What does his mother do?
His mother doesn't do anything. She just stands by.
She just stands by and all of them are there. Now what happens next? The boy says, I cannot reach it, Mama. What can I do? So then she says, it's okay. You come down. I know you cannot go there. If something happens to you, I don't know what to do. We'll see if we can get another balloon. But then he says that was the only balloon that was there. Right? Then she goes back. She does something. She asks somebody some more money and she'll get this balloon, another balloon to him, and he comes down and they walk away. Right? And that is when I was just walking by towards this tree and I saw a orange balloon on a branch. Right? So thank you, everyone. Give yourselves a huge round of applause. You all did it very well. It's a simple story we all created together. So like this, see if you can come up with different situations. You can solve problems with students. You can, with your children, you can create, nice emotional understanding with them. You can bring in some magical elements, right? You can say a fairy came down, took away the balloon. You can use different imagination power to really instigate your mind of your children, right? Yes, that will be very helpful. If you try and do it, it will be amazing. Right? You can bring in new characters they love, known people. For example, if you identify that to, one of your child and then one of your child's friend, they are having this quarrel, they're fighting, then you can use those two characters in this activity to help them, patch up. You can do a lot of things with this activity, right? So this is one. Now, another activity that I want to do is called as objective. So we see a lot of things these days, right? Which is 5 things, 8 things, you do this, 9 things, you do this. We see these kind of activities, right? So what I want to do is I will take anybody's name and I will ask them certain things they do and others will count. Very simple. Okay. I want to start with Lakshmi. Okay. Lakshmi, 8 things that you do, in this lockdown that made you feel happy. 1. You can start quickly. 1.
Yes.
Yes.
I learned cooking very well.
Okay. Cooking. Anything. It need not be very something that you did, something that you remember, anything at all. It could be funny answers, it could be wrong answers, anything. The point is for us to do very quickly. Yes. Cooking,
Cooking, dancing,
dancing,
fight with the, like friends,
fight with friends, then
and seeing TV,
watching TV,
and practicing for learning,
learning, participation, joining classes. Okay.
and working.
And working. There are 2 more to go.
I learned how to make parota.
Parotha. Okay. And 1 more. Last.
I learned like rangoli.
Rangoli. Amazing. So 8 things you did. Now you can pass it on to somebody else. So like this.
I'm passing to
You can
Tanishka.
pass it to Tanishka, but what is the 8 things that
Suppose
you
with-
want to know? What is the 8 things you want to know? Not the same thing. We'll come up with something new.
What she did yesterday.
What you did
Okay.
yesterday. 8 things you did yesterday. Tanishka. 1.
I ate a yummy breakfast cooked by my mother,
Okay.
and then I attended all my classes.
Hmm.
I spent some time on the TV.
Hmm.
Then I went to play with my friend.
Hmm.
I cycled all by myself.
Hmm.
I read many storybooks.
Huh?
Then later I did some paintings.
Hmm.
Then later I chit chat with my parents.
Okay, lovely. Thank you so much. Now, see, you have 8 new topics to talk to your child about. So you can take the first thing and you can ask them what they felt when they did that activity, right? You can ask them what made them do that activity. Was it told? So basically, this is a way of, having conversations with our children. These days, conversations are so limited, right? We don't talk that much. But by this activity, what you can do is she said she read some storybooks. Now, what did you read? What did you learn from that? What did you enjoy about it? How did you feel about it? So simple questions. So now you have 8 different things to talk about. Like that, you can start with 5, 10, 15 and things like that so that you can really ask them about how they felt, what happened to them during their day. Right? Any questions regarding this? So next, I want to introduce another activity. Very simple. Okay. So which is starting, for example, not a lot of students or not a lot of children know what emotions are basically, right? So how can we introduce emotions to our children? Very simple. We can have different faces and we can ask them, so what does this third image talk about according to you? Right? Or what is this 5th image that is, trying to tell you? So simply you can show them different pictures and ask them what they feel, and you can start talking to them. So when you feel like this, what do you do? Questions like that will help them identify if they're happy, sad, frustrated, and all of these things. Because we have primary emotions and we have secondary emotions. Primary are something that we understand, sad, happy, and things like that. Very simple, positive and negative, sad and happy. But under that, we have complex emotions, like frustration, anger, depression or anxious. So all of these things are complex emotions where you don't know how do you really, put your finger and say, okay, this is the way it is, right? You can ask them questions like this. So now you feel happy. What are the things that make you feel happy? So when they say something like that, then you can ask them, so can you show me in your, voice? So if you say, I love playing games. So you can stress on love. So why do you love playing games? What games do you love playing? Then you can start introducing them to different complex emotions like, excitement. So excitement, what happens to a person if they're excited? Okay, their hands go up, their voice goes up, they scream loudly, right? It shows them in their body. Like that, you can start introducing them to different complex emotions. For children to understand complex emotions is important so that tomorrow they can come and tell you what they're actually feeling, right? Now, another thing you could also introduce to them is role plays. So we do a lot of role plays, right? Role plays is something that help you relive or experience new situations, right? If I say, can you role play like a person who is very sad? Can anyone do that? So I will give you a sentence, a very simple sentence, and I will give you an emotion. I want you to do it. So the sentence is, it's a beautiful day today, and I want to draw. That is the sentence. Now I want you to pick an emotion and do it on your face and show it to me. I want you to role play this and show it to me. You can pick any emotion. I can pick sadness. It's a beautiful day today, and I feel like painting. Okay. So now anybody can pick an emotion and show it to me. The same sentence, it's a beautiful day today, and I feel like painting any emotion. You can pick excitement, surprise, shock. So you can actually, make small chits and you can pick the chit, whatever comes in that, you can play. So right now I'll have an imaginary bowl. I'm picking the emotion. So it is excitement. So who can do it? Devasmita, can you try? At least in your voice. If you don't want to turn on your camera, you can sense the excitement in your voice.
Oh, it's a beautiful day. And I feel like painting with bright colors, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, thank you so much. I'll pass it to Tanishka. Now, your emotion is shocked.
Oh, is that so? I'm very shocked.
So, but you have to use the sentence, it's a beautiful day today, and I feel like painting in shock.
Oh, it's a beautiful day today. I feel like I want to paint.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So simple things like this, which will really help kids understand emotions and how they can use it, what happens to their face. When we say I feel sad, then my eyebrows goes down, my shoulders go down, my lips go down, and I don't have energy. There is no voice in me. So all these things happen when I'm sad. But when I'm happy, my body is elated, my eyebrows are up, I have a very high pitched voice, my shoulders are very straight and up. So you can ask them how do they feel in their body when they have these emotions. So that will really help them, right? Any doubts regarding this? So these are some fun activities that you could do with your children. So if there were a lot of children today, we would have done a lot of activities. So that's what I had in mind. I was thinking that today kids will be there and we would really do these activities, but you can really try them with your children. That will really help. Now, another activity that I want to introduce you all to is gibberish and make sense. What is the meaning of gibberish? Gibberish is something that makes no sense at all. And there is a juxtaposition, there is another opposite terminology called make sense. So I will gibber, I will not make sense, I will not talk anything that you can understand, but my partner is going to explain to everybody what I'm trying to say. Okay, so I will say something, I will use emotions, but somebody will have to make sense of it. Okay, can we start? Who wants to be my partner? Okay, Pranita and team is my partner. So I'm going to use gibberish in my emotions, and you are going to make sense of it and tell everybody a story based on that. Okay? Okay. Okay, so that was my gibberish. Now, Pranita, what did you understand from that?
First, you are angry with something.
No. I want you to use a story to explain whatever I did, in your understanding. It could be any story.
Okay, when my daughter is near me, when she do something, I'll be angry and I'm shouting on what she's doing. After some time, she will explain. So I'm so sorry, mommy. Next time I won't do. And then I'll okay.
You say that, and then finally you accept.
Finally, it ends the matter.
Okay, lovely. That's gibberish and makes sense. What do you guys think about this activity? You liked it? Yes.
Yes.
So this is another one. It's very simple. You can use whatever you want to do because you show expressions and emotions. So the idea about this activity is they catch that. They don't care what you're saying, but they have to be able to catch it. So whenever we do this activity, what we always tell people is use a story. So a story will always have a beginning, a conflict, right? A conflict and a happy ending. So try to incorporate a beginning, conflict, and a happy ending whenever you try to tell a story or use this activity with them. Okay. Now I want to introduce to you the story and how we can introduce, concept of emotions using storytelling. So there were once upon a time there was a brother and sister. Let us give them any names. Any names? Brother and sister. Any names?
Karthik
Karthik
and Sita.
Okay, Karthik and Sita. Let's name them Karthik and Sita. Now, Karthik was in class 8 and he's the elder one. What was Sita's age? Anyone? Karthik is elder and he was in 8th standard. And what about Sita? She is the younger sister. And what class is she studying in? 5th standard. Okay. So we have Karthik and we have Sita. Karthik is in 8th standard and Sita is in 5th standard. Now, Sita tells Karthik that she wants to have ice cream. Okay. Now, Karthik says, I don't have money to buy this ice cream and I cannot help you with this. So, Sita starts crying. Why is Sita crying? You slowly ask questions every time. Why is Sita crying? Because she can't have her ice cream. She's not getting what she wants. So, she's feeling sad. So, because she's feeling sad, she's crying. Now, what does Karthik feel? Oh my God, my sister is crying. I cannot see. Why? Because he's able to understand her pain. So what does he tell Sita? It's okay. I will talk to our parents. I will get some money and I will buy you this ice cream. So he goes to his mother and says, Mama, I want to buy a book. Okay, it will cost me 20 rupees. Can you please give me? His mother gives that 20 rupees and both of them go together to buy this ice cream. So they both buy mango bites ice cream, which is a mango candy, one for him and one for her. Now Sita is what is she? Is she sad anymore? No, she is happy. So you have to fill in the gap. So she's happy because she got what she wanted. Now both of them are having that ice cream and walking on the road. Now all of a sudden, Sita sees a dog that is coming very, chasing her, and her ice cream falls down. Her ice cream falls down and she is very sad. She starts crying. So what does she do now? She starts expecting another ice cream. But is there any money? No, there is no money. Now what should Karthik do? What will Karthik do? Karthik will again feel sad for a sister and he will give his ice cream to her. So what did he do? He did something called compromise. What does that mean? That even though he had something, he gave her because for her happiness. That is one option. The second option would be he will share his ice cream with her. So things like this, take real life examples and stories from your own life so that kids can understand and start introducing concepts like sharing, compromise, anger, jealousy, and things like that, which are more complex emotions so kids can understand. Okay, so these are some theater activities that you can do using stories, your body movement, right? When we said, you have to do some mimicry and imitation and all of that, use your body movements, use your voice. You can go very slow. So you can go very slow like that. You can go fast, introduce emotions. It will be really helpful for children to understand. Any questions so far? Okay. Now I want to have a little bit of conversation about understanding, how we can inform the information about COVID and COVID related things to children. Okay, there is a question here. My kid is less than 2 years and he does not pay any attention to role play. How to increase his attention span? Right. So to increase attention span, you have to work with things that will catch their attention. One is definitely using sensory perception, right? Which is eyes, ears, smell, taste, and touch. So you can enhance them on a daily basis. You can take them to a place and you can ask them to see how it feels. Some colors will really help them. Or else you can do some other activities, like you can give them things that feel different, slimy, soft, things that are rough, and constantly change the feeling of their senses so that they understand something is different, unique. So what do I do? Now, another thing you could also do is introduce to them different tastes, right? So that they feel, okay, what is this? It's something new. So you have to give them things to explore in their senses, right? So that they will really be able to concentrate and figure out what are the different things. Now, if you give a child a phone, they will remove everything. They will understand what it is. They will try to explore each and every part of it. So that is what our senses are. For a developing child who is below the age of 5 years, they're constantly exploring through their senses, smell, touch, all of these things. So try to enhance them with those capacities so that they increase their concentration or attention span. Another thing that you could also do is, you can take them and do certain activities that they like, but physically, especially for kids under the age of 5, they need to increase their physical movement, so that there is constant energy, that is cultivated in their body. Because right now, if you just make them sit in one place, they have 101 things to see around them. So they can't grab those attention at once. It gets distracted very easily. So you have to make them do things that is one focus, right? Single-handed focus is what is important for them. So making them do some movement activities, giving them games where there is a lot of colors, there's a lot of things for them to do, so that their attention is constantly sticking to one place, right? And also to, your body itself will have a clock. So right now what is happening is, for children, they don't have a routine. So but try to inculcate some routine through their body. For example, if they wake up, the first thing they do is maybe you have to brush their teeth. And the second thing you do, so you try to maintain those routine on a daily basis, so their body gets adjusted and accustomed to those activities. So when you're doing that activity without telling them, that activity, they will do it with attention. So these are some of the activities that you could try with your children.
Thank you.
Yeah, I hope that helped with this, Smita.
Yeah. Thank you.
So next we move to, how do we communicate about COVID to our children? I think this is the most important thing that a lot of parents have asked me while counseling or even doing such sessions. The first thing that you have to do, if you have a very small child, now I want to take the example of Devismita itself. You have a 2-year-old child. The child may never understand what is happening, but they can sense things, right? They can sense your tone. They can sense the temperature of the house, the pulse of people, right? So if you're spending less time with your child, they sense something is wrong, right? If you are constantly screaming around your child, they sense something is wrong. So try to normalize your relationship with your loved one around your child. Try to normalize the situation through your actions and behavior. Now, going to preschoolers, kids who are in their preschool age, below the age of 10, below the age of 12, how can you communicate about COVID to them? They know that something is not right. They definitely know that, everything is changed. It's not the same anymore. So try to incorporate, more of preventive measures than actually informing them what it is. So you can tell them that there is a virus. What is a virus? Just like bacteria. So they understand things like bacteria because they're bombarded with toothpaste ads. So they know what a bacteria looks like. So use that. So it's just like a bacteria. So what happens when a bacteria enters our system? We fall sick, right? So how do we know we fall sick? We start coughing. We start getting, fever. So all of these things happen to us. So now to stay away from bacteria, what do we do? To keep our teeth clean, to stay away from bacteria, what do? We brush our teeth. Similarly, this virus attacks our body. So what should we do? we have to stay indoors, right? And we also should tell them, how does this bacteria spread? It spreads through when we have, it spreads through our saliva. When we talk to people, when we cough, it spreads very simple, very easily. So we have to cover with mask, right? So things like that. It spreads if we touch our hands to our mouth. So you should not touch your hands to your mouth. So things like this. So you can start talking about it. Be very, focus on preventive measures than giving them a lot of information. They might not understand that, COVID is a virus. Now it's also been declared as an airborne disease and things like that. They might not understand all of that. They might not even know what vaccines are. But you can tell them that we have to take injection. They know injection. So try to use terms that they understand. Try to use pictorial representation. Now for teenagers, they understand a lot of things, right? They already know, they have exposure. They have exposure to news, internet and everything. So for them, we can start talking to them about what is the real thing that is happening. You can introduce to them concepts about how the medical infrastructure is working today. What are the different treatments that are there for COVID patients? What is isolation? What is quarantine? Now, what is a vaccine? So you can introduce to them all of these things. You can also talk about how COVID is affecting people's mental health today, because teenagers can understand, right? So this is the way we communicate. We can also do other thing is, first we ask them what they already know about COVID. They will tell you. You can ask them. So COVID everywhere. So what do you know about it? So now they say, I know this. Suppose they say something wrong, validate them and tell them this is a wrong information and correct it immediately. Okay, and validate them, and then give them the right information with facts and figures. Do not give them depressive information that it is killing people. And for teenagers, they know that it is killing them. It is killing a lot of people. People are dying because of COVID. But you can again tell them that people with less immunity. So explain to them what immunity is, like comorbidity is. So they are the ones who are, it's a possibility that they may die, but not everybody like you and me. So give them some hope that this is a non-threatening disease, right? So this is the way you can inform them about COVID. Now coming to managing screen time, this is another important thing a lot of parents ask me. So it's very difficult to manage screen time, especially these days, right? Because there is absolutely no other way for kids to get engaged. So parents also think that it's the best way to just get rid of my child. I've seen so many parents who come to me and say, because of my own peace, I hand over my tablet and my phone to my child, and then I'll forget about them. They're also happy 2-3 hours. I'm also happy 2-3 hours, right? But what happens is we have alpha and beta rays that are governing. So alpha is responsible for all of these information which are logical, which you receive from books, and it can think, imagine. But all of these things in terms of technology and TV and videos, it is not helping you think. It is already programmed. It is providing everything. So you don't increase your thinking capacity or visualization capacity. When I read a notebook, when I read a storybook, I can visualize the characters, what they're doing. But when I watch the same thing, it's everything programmed and already there for me. I'm not engaging my mind. So what you can do in this, how to avoid screen time? The first is, when you're giving any information to your child in terms of tablet or laptop or anything, set an expectation from the child. That means give them a clear indication of time. So tell them that I'm going to give you this for 20 minutes or 30 minutes, so that you emphasize on the time duration. Now pick viewing time carefully. If your child is energetic in the morning, do not give them any online information or visual information in terms of all of these things. Do not give them your phones or laptops, right? When they are slightly low in energy, give it to them at that time, so that they constantly feel that when they're energetic, they can use their body to do something. Now associate the screen time to an activity. Tell them what they can do after this. For example, you can say, Rahul, you can watch this, you can watch your favorite this thing, or you can play your game. But after this, you have to finish your homework, or after this, you have to have food with me, or after this, we have to go do something. So always give them an option to do something after. Because if they don't know, then they will sit on it for a longer period of time. So tell them what they can do after. Then announce a wind up alert. So just before 10 minutes or 5 minutes, tell them that your 30 minutes are about to get over. Okay, you have to switch off the television or switch off your laptop or phone in 20 minutes or 5 minutes. So give them a wind up alert and then give them time to wrap up. For example, if they're watching something, tell them that, I will save it for you. You can watch the same thing tomorrow at the same time. So give them time to close up. So these are the 4 ways in which you can, handle or manage their screen time. So the first one is giving them expectation in terms of time. So tell them 30 minutes means 30 minutes, right? Then the second thing is telling them what they can do after 30 minutes, right? Giving them a clear cut indication, giving them a wind up alert time, and then finally giving them time to close up or saving whatever they're doing. So this will really help you manage screen time. Any questions regarding this? Because what we're doing is we're doing something called as cognitive development or conditioning of brain, right? This classical conditioning is a concept that we use just so that by giving them, exposing to them the same thing time and again, it will develop in their biological clock. Then tomorrow when they pick up a tablet or a mobile phone, they know that they will have to use it only for 30 minutes and immediately they will do that activity that they have to do. So it might take a few days or weeks for them to get accustomed to it, but then eventually they will definitely do that. Now I want to talk about the activities that we do for children, between the children who are below, teenage, for example, there could be preschoolers or, high school children. Try to concentrate all of their activities related to senses, movement, lot of physical activities and things like that. But for teenagers, try to include these activities more in terms of life skills, right? Life skills will really help children at this age. So please try to incorporate some of the activities, for example, teaching them problem solving, communication skills. Whenever you're reading stories to them, pick up stories that are motivational, influential, so that, they learn something from it. Always attach a moral whenever you're reading a story. Okay. So for example, if I were to tell you the story, there was a man on a beach. Okay. I was walking by and I saw this man. There was so many starfish. There were so many starfish. There were thousands of them. So what he was doing is he was picking up each starfish and he was throwing it back to the ocean, to the river, right, to the ocean. So then I was walking, I was wondering, why is he doing this? What is the purpose? How many can he save? Because there are thousands of starfish on the shore. How can he save all of them? He's just one man and he is picking up each starfish and putting it back to the ocean. So I was very curious. I wanted to know what his plan is. So I walked up to him and I asked him, what are you doing? I noticed that you're picking up each starfish and you're throwing it back to the ocean. By the time you reach all of them, it will become ages and you will never be able to finish it. What is your plan? Why are you doing this? So you know what he did? He looked up to me. He looked at another starfish. He picked it up and I threw it back in the ocean. And he said, it matters to that starfish. I was able to help that starfish. It matters to that. So I was very baffled. And I was happy to hear that this man is doing something. And I joined him in putting those starfish back to the ocean. So now this is a very simple story, right? So when you tell a story like this, ask the child, what did you understand? First, let us know what the child understood, right? Then you can bring that moral. Help is help, no matter if you're helping one person, because it matters to them, right? So taking your real life examples and telling them story will really help. And I always tell stories using I in it, me in it, because that is one way of connecting. Okay. Now, the second important thing you can also do is tell them failures and challenges that you have faced. Children need to know that life is not full of happiness. Life is not full of, happy endings, because all of their fairy tales, everything have happy endings. Ultimately, the boy and the girl meet. Ultimately, the father and the daughter become happy. Everything is happy. But try to tell them that failures are also very much a part of our life. And you can use your own life story to tell them in areas that you have failed. Maybe you failed your exam. Maybe you failed something. You wanted something, you never got it. Tell them how you came out of it. so that when tomorrow they face the same situation, they need to know that it's not end all and be all of life, right? Children these days have high expectations. They need to know that failure is a part and parcel of our lives. So incorporate stories with challenges, failures, and try to tell them in such a way that it happened to you. Because whenever they look at you as parents, they see success. But they also have to know that you have failed in your life, right? So that is very important for children to know. And finally, I would also want to introduce this very important concept, which is online safety and rewards and recognition, or rewards or bribes. So whenever we use rewards to children, they like it. For example, if you tell them, if you finish this, I will give you this, right? They like it. Rewards are something that children really like. Rewards could be in the form of hugs, in the form of material things, it could be in the form of anything. But bribes, I see a big no to bribe. Bribe is when people use, or when parents use things to cover up something, or to induce negative emotion. For example, during COVID, I have had this particular example I want to tell you. One of the parents said that if you don't do this, your mother will die because she has COVID. This is a bribe. Tomorrow the child will never be able to forgive herself or himself if the mother actually dies. So do not use bribes. Use motivating, rewarding things, reinforcements, you know, so that they feel that, okay, if I do this, something like this, I have some value and worth and self-worth. And finally, online safety. Children these days are online. There's a lot of things that are happening on social media. They might have their own Facebook or Instagram accounts, right? But at the same time, we need to know that it's not safe all the time, right? There are perpetrators, there are abusers, there are kidnappers, there are all kinds of people online, right? So we have to ensure that our children are safe. So here are some very small tips for you to know as parents. The first, please tell them it is okay to block somebody or not accept friend requests if you don't know them. Please don't accept friend requests if you don't know them, right? Then, especially from strangers. And whenever you open something, always remember to log out from it, right? And don't give personal information like name, your phone number, your address, which school you study in, any of the personal information about you to those people if they ask you something, right? And always remember to tell us. So they need to know that you are their safe adults. So please tell them that if somebody asks you something like this, please come and tell us, so that they know that this is wrong. So that's it from my end. I hope the session was helpful. You're taking back something today, and please try to apply. Please try to do these activities with your children. And ultimately, I would like to just leave with one, sentence that I really love. So there was a person, my mentor. She's actually into all of these things. She's also a psychologist, and she's a great parent. Both her children are very sorted. They know what they want, and they know how to behave in front of social gatherings. They're very, very well mannered children or disciplined children. So I went up to her and I asked her, what is the secret to parenting? You seem to have really sorted things out. You seem to know everything. So what is the secret of yours? So she just told me one thing, that parenting is creativity. Ultimately, it is what you make of it as a parent. You cannot do the same thing that your parents did with you. Times are changing, things are evolving. So if you don't evolve and change, you will never be able to imbibe those qualities in your children. So it is all about creativity and imagination. So that's it from my end. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to interact with you all. Now the floor is open. If you have any questions, please ask me.
Yeah, one small question, Bhumika.
Yes.
Anyways, I have two daughters.
Mhm.
I have two daughters. Elder one is around 15 years old.
Mhm.
So sometimes I get confused, like, whether you need to be more friendly with them, or, the more friendlier you become, we feel that are they taking advantage of our, being friendliness with them.
Yes.
Or you are, too much with them, we never know what's happening in their mind.
Yes.
Sometimes, it's becoming quite difficult.
Yes. Thank you for asking this question. It's very important. So one thing is, it's important we set boundaries with children. Okay. So there are times when, as a parent, I will have to step out of my parenting role and become their friend. Especially if you notice that your child, your teenage child is probably upset about certain things. They're not communicating things properly. You can get to know from their behaviors that something is not right. So during that time, you have to step out of your parent, role and become their friends and ask them what is happening. You don't have to get scared about anything. You can tell me. It could be about anything. It could be about your friends. It could be about, maybe there is something that is going on in your life. So try to become friends there. Okay. But where you have to draw that boundary is when they're out there and they're really doing something, and they're kind of becoming a brat, they're showing a lot of these kind of behaviors, which is, I can do anything, stop talking to me like this. So when they raise their voice, or when they try to tell you what to do, what is right. So that is where you bring back that parent, coat on and become a parent. And that is where you tell them that this is not right, this is wrong, and guide them. But it's very important that at this age, especially during teenagers, that we try to understand them from the lens of a friend. Because if you don't, then they will never explain what is happening in their life. And you need to tell them that this is a normal feeling, especially during teenagers, because they're stepping towards adulthood. There are a lot of physical changes, emotional changes. They don't
Correct.
know what is happening. and
Absolutely.
and they have other issues, like they're getting attracted to other people. All of these things are very common at that age, and they need to know that this is normal. It happens with everyone. But at the same time, this is not the end all of everything, right? Because
Understood.
I've had parents have come to me and they've said that they had liked a boy, and the boy is not liking them back, and I don't know what to do. The child is crying all the time. So we need to tell them that these things happen in our life, but that doesn't mean that this is the boy for you. You like this person, it's okay. You don't have to tell them, you can tell me. But ultimately, this is not the end all of everything. You have
Correct.
there is somebody who is for you. You'll try to meet them later on in your life. So
Understood.
yeah, so try to, and you can also use stories and films. There are a lot of films that are being made these days of coming out of the age, like becoming an adult or adolescent, or so you can teach, you can show them those movies and talk to them, have a healthy conversation about it.
Understood. Got it. Got it. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, I think thanks a lot, Monica. It was
Yeah.
a very insightful session,
Yeah,
and some of the tips that you have given are really practical. Okay, so I myself will use them. I hope everyone liked it.
thank you so much, everyone, for taking your time out and being with me. Yeah, thank you so much, Suresh, for giving us this opportunity.